kind of a weird title to start basically a brand on, right? Hey, by the way, I got injured and I'm a little bit broken right now. But I think a lot of times with these injuries, especially we as guys, we as lifters, we don't want to admit this type of stuff. And also, we want to know, okay, what should I expect? What do I need to go through? How do I get back? And so I wanted to take a couple of minutes and kind of explain. Some of you may have seen me actually with a sling, or you may have asked me, hey, what's going on with your arm? Why not kick it off with that? So about 3 weeks ago, I was flipping a heavy tire after a good old workout, and I tore my bicep tendon. And it's one of those things where I felt it pop, I heard it pop, and right away I knew what had happened. And people have said, did it hurt? For me, honestly, I can't say that it hurt all that much, but I knew right away what had happened. It got thick and felt thick and knotted right away. Bicep had rolled up and everything. And so what I did immediately, and I had partially torn my pec about 6 months prior, so I kind of had the whole system down. I went straight to the freezer, grabbed some ice packs, grabbed frozen peas, put it right on it, started contacting some friends, try to make, okay, where do I go? Who do you know? And I had a friend get a hold of a friend, and I worked down the chain and found another guy who had a guy I really respect, especially in the physical realm. You guys know, if you know, he had torn his bicep the same way, not flipping a tire, but at the elbow, as opposed to a lot of guys will tear it in the shoulder. I tore it down at the elbow. And he immediately told me who he went through, had a great experience with this surgeon. And one of the things that you got to remember when you go through something like this, especially with like a tendon, is you've got to get it fixed fast. Don't wait, because the longer and I actually freaked out my surgeon because I gave him the wrong date of when it happened. I gave him a week earlier date. And so he freaked out thinking that's too late. And we're talking like you should be under the knife in a matter of days type stuff, like 2 weeks, as opposed to wait a couple of months and then maybe go under the knife. If I had waited maybe a week and a half longer, they wouldn't have been able to use my tendon. And the difference, just to give you a little explanation of what I was told in this instance, my tendon had retracted about 2.5 inches. If they hadn't have been able to use my tendon, they would have had to use a cadaver tendon. That would have been about 6 weeks in a cast, then 6 weeks of sling and very easy movement, not lifting more than a pound, and then slowly building up, looking at like full contact sport and all that or whatever, 6 months down the road at least. Because I could use my tendon, because I actually got in early enough. When we figured out the correct date, he was like, oh, okay, we're all right. And so it's 6 weeks of sling and really easy, not more than a pound, and then I can slowly start working it back. So I went in for surgery. My surgery truly took 30, 45 minutes, and I was in and out in just over 3 hours. I went in, filled out forms. They put me under, had surgery, popped back out, headed down the road. And so a couple of days after surgery, it was just really bruised. It was sore. It was thick. Didn't want to move it a whole lot. Iced it a lot. Make sure you ice it a lot after surgery. But the biggest thing is, for me, what I'm learning through this whole process is as I'm getting older, I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, well, I can make it, and, I just got to push harder. Because I looked at the MRI report of this, and for my MRI report, when they gave it, they didn't just do the tendon, they did all the other surrounding tendons as well. And pretty much all of those have some type of level of damage just from the years of lifting. I've been working out or lifting in some way, shape, or form since I was probably 16 years old. I'm 37 now. So, that's 21 years. At some point, you're going to do some damage to your body. Now, I've looked up some stuff, and I think there's some cool recovery things that I can do. I've had a lot of suggestion for peptide injections. If I do end up going that route, I'll let you know how it goes. But for the most part, I'm looking into collagen supplements with vitamin C and taking that before my workouts, and maybe changing the structure of how I work out, understanding that. And one of the things my surgeon said to me, and I'll say this and wrap it up. When you get to be my age, when you get to be the mid to late 30s guys, the early 40s guys, he said, yeah, this is when it happens. And this is when it starts to break down. There's nothing wrong with that. But I know for me, it's something that I'm learning of, this is who I am and this is the spot that I'm in. And if I try to relive my glory days, I could end up putting myself in a world of hurt. Now, it doesn't mean I don't have to push myself hard. It doesn't mean I don't still strive or work hard. But at some point, you do have to admit to yourself, okay, maybe I'm not what I used to be. And you younger guys, when you're 20 years old or you're 24 years old, man, I went hard all the time with my lifting. And I'm not saying necessarily that was a bad thing, but if you pay attention to your recovery, you pay attention to taking care of yourself, you pay attention to trying to repair the damage that's been done instead of just more plates, more food, you can give yourself more longevity. I could go through the list of injuries, could go through the list of aches, pains, and problems, but you don't really care about that. What you care about is, hey, if you're 20, if you're 25, you're late 20s, early 30s, just be ready to make that paradigm shift. And that's true for everything in your life. You may have to make a shift, and things may change, and that's okay. When the seasons come, that's part of life. And the beauty of it is, the joy of it is, when you open up that hand, God can take something out and put something else in. So maybe it's not a ton of plates on the bar anymore for me, but maybe it's functional strength. Maybe it's feeling good. Maybe it's being active. Maybe it's being something that a lot of other people aren't because they didn't keep up the work. They didn't keep themselves healthy. And so I encourage you, the lesson right here, hey, first off, if you go through a bicep tendon tear, or you go through a bicep tear, get it checked out immediately. Like that day. I know sometimes, we'll see what happens. I really don't want it. Just go get it checked out. I'm telling you. Because you might wait too long and then you're going to put yourself in a world of hurt. But the bigger lesson of life that I want to cover on this is there are seasons in your life and you got to be okay with that. And you got to learn from them. And you got to grow from them. And this season for me is taking on new adventures and new opportunities, and the Forged is one of those new opportunities that I am taking advantage of. This has been on my heart for a long time, and I want to provide community for guys to grow and encourage each other and challenge each other, and I want to provide products. One of the giftings that God has given me is to be able to build thought-provoking content, questions, progressions, to develop curriculum, and so you're going to see a lot of that. You can check out my book, Becometheforged, online. Go to Amazon, go to theselfevidenttruth.com, go to their shop. Why theselfevidenttruth.com? Because I'm also one of the people in charge of Self-Evident Ministries. That's the other gig that I've got. And keep an eye out. I've got a couple of products that I think you may really enjoy, especially you Christian guys who are looking for something that, let's be frank, we don't always find something that speaks to us that's in the church because there's a lot of, can we be real, softness. And I'm not throwing shade at the church, man. I've worked in the church. I've been in ministry for a while. I know how it goes. I love God's body. But sometimes I need some other Christian guys that actually look at the hardship, look at the adversity, look at the struggle, the obstacle, whatever, and we kind of grin and we go towards it. And I find working out, lifting, all of that is a big part of that, of teaching me, get over the obstacle and just go do it. And so I'm going to be that guy to walk alongside you, kind of help guide that process, and challenge you. Can you be that man? Can you be that man that steps up? So keep an eye out for this type of content. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.